Okay, so we can go ahead and get started. The time now is 12 o'clock p.m., our official start time. So again, my name is Veronica Parker, and I'm the coordinator with CAEP tab. For today's webinar, we will be discussing the CAEP data submission guidelines for quarter four through the end of the program year, which is July 1, 2018 through June 30th, 2019. And our webinar facilitator for this afternoon is Martha Perez, and she is a staff person with CASAS. So before we get started, I'd like to just go over a few housekeeping items. For all of you who actively participate with us, you know that if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please be sure to type them into the general chat pod. Throughout the course of the webinar, Martha will be available to assist you and to answer any questions you may have. And then at the end, we'll have time to answer any outstanding questions that have arose throughout the course of the webinar. So please be sure to type in your questions. If she does not get to them immediately, please just be patient and she will get to them as soon as there is a clean break within the webinar presentation. The webinar is being recorded and will be available on the California Adult Education website, and I will be sure to post the URL of exactly where the webinar will be housed. So if you have to go back to reference any information that was presented throughout the webinar, or if you would like to share the link with others who were unable to join us this afternoon, the recording will be available for you to do so. Again, if you are experiencing any technical difficulties, please be sure to let us know in the chat pod. Myself or Melinda Holt will be available to assist you, so please be sure to let us know. We are taking attendance for this webinar, so if you are participating in the webinar with other people but have only signed in under one name, please be sure to let us know so that we can account for everyone who is participating in the webinar. And I see some of you have typed in your participant name and you've included all parties, so that's great. Thank you so much for being so efficient and letting us know who you are participating in the webinar with. And then also, if you have signed in with an initial or you've signed in with the acronym of your consortium or your agency name, please be sure to let us know who you are. Again, we want to make sure that we capture all parties who are participating in today's webinar. So I will turn it over to Martha, who will get us started with today's webinar. Martha?
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. And welcome everybody. Thank you so much for taking your time of your busy schedule. I know everybody is busy right now, but thank you so much for joining us. One extra thing, the PowerPoint presentation I will be sharing today, you can download it from this application for the Adobe Connect application. All right. Well, as you all know, our data submission for quarter four or the end of the year for the California adult education is due this August 1st. So we have about almost a little bit less than 2 weeks, but we can still make that deadline. And here are the guidelines that we are being specific about. And again, that the due dates are in this other next slide. Each quarter's data has to be submitted from July 1st, from the beginning of the program year until the very end of the program year, which is June 30th. This is due again on August 1st and will be requiring the fourth quarter end of year data TOPS Pro Enterprise and also the fourth quarter or end of year data integrity report, the CAEP Data Integrity Report. So on the first deliverable listed here, the fourth quarter end of year data TOPS Pro Enterprise report, this is really nothing that you have to submit because we are hosting your data on our online servers. So there's nothing else you need to enter or turn in except for the data integrity report. You may also would like to generate the CAEP tables, the summary tables, but there are for your records. You don't have to turn these in into CASAS. The only report that we're requiring is the CAEP Data Integrity Report, and then of course your data is already hosted on our online server, so then we will be able to go grab your data for analysis. So it sounds like Wendy does not have any. Oh, she does. Okay, sorry. I thought she wasn't hearing everything. Perfect. So this is our deadline. We are required to enter the CAEP Data Integrity Report, and then you can fax this, you can email it. The preference is through email, and I'm going to discuss about the email in just a moment. Or you can fax it or mail a hard copy to CASA. So there's three options. Okay. So now preparing your TOPS Pro Enterprise data to make this submission successful, you would need to enter everybody, all the students that have enrolled into your programs or have received any type of services from a CAEP funded program. Now, what your student will need is to have an entry record. If they are an ESL or ABE and ASC student, they need to have a pretest. And again, if they're enrolled and have classes in those same programs, ESL, ABE, and ASC, a post-test would also be required. And an update record. For instance, some students would leave the program and would have some outcomes, like learning outcomes or education outcomes, were done throughout their stay in your school, then you would definitely would like to record them through an update record. Can be done electronically in TOPS Pro Enterprise, or it can be done through your attendance system. It doesn't matter if if you have an attendance system, you can use that and import your data later into TOPS Pro Enterprise. As long as it's recorded in TE, then you should be good with those students who left. And then, of course, any attendance hours that they may have available, then you can definitely record that. So yes, there's a question about those agencies that use MIS. They're not required to submit a data integrity report to CASAS. That is correct, because your data is now being reported through MIS, and you don't have to send us anything or enter. You're not required to enter anything into TOPS Pro Enterprise any longer. You are welcome to do so, but then it would be totally up to you. But if once you have MIS and reporting through that, then you don't have to worry about TOPS Pro Enterprise. You're welcome. All right, our next slide here. We have an entry record for those students who, of course, they come over to your school, they want to know, they want to learn something, what they want to enroll in a class, they want to see what they can do. Then you would need to have an entry record for them. And then for those students who enroll in one of the 7 CAEP program areas, then you would need to collect their student name and address, demographics, labor force status, barriers to employment, date of entry into class and programs, and if there are any special programs that also can be recorded into your entry record. We have entry records available from CASAS. And other students who only receive services but they don't actually get to enroll in a class, then you can also collect their student name and address, their demographics, labor force status, barriers to employment, date that those services were received, and what type of services they received, as well as an update record side for that. So the services that they received would be on the update side for those entry/update records, and you can also record that information in there. So for those who do not enroll into a class, but they receive some services, that is absolutely required. All right. Looking at the chat pod here to see if I am missing any type of questions, but I guess we have them all covered right now. MIS reporting. We have a question about MIS reporting, about reported Q1 and Q2 in TOPS Pro before migrating to MIS. Should that data remain in TE or be removed? That is a very good question. I would need to inquire in regards to hosting your data in our online server. Why don't you go ahead and type in your agency ID number or your agency's name, and I can inquire further about that still hosting your data in our online server. Because if you already migrated everything to MIS, I don't know, we have to figure out about your the status of your account with Tops Pro Enterprise. All right. Then we have another question here. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so adult education pathways, that is Consortium 71. Okay. All right, thank you so much. I will ask about that. Thank you, and I will get back to you. Alrighty, Janie. All right, I have another slide coming up for pre and post tests. So those students who are enrolled in an ESL program, an ABE, ASE program, they definitely would need a pre and hopefully a post test. So this is super important for students who are doing ESL classes or ABE, ASE. Pre and post test would count their benchmarks, would be achieving better benchmarks. So any assessments that are approved by the NRS for CAEP are CASAS assessments, and there are other approved assessments that can also be found on the CAEP website. All right. So I have another question in regards to those agencies who use MIS because they are a college, but they are also WIOA funded. This is very important, folks. If you are a college who's using MIS and reporting through MIS, but you're also WIOA Title II funded agency, then I'm sorry, but you'll definitely have to still continue to use TOPS Pro Enterprise and report through TE. That would be the only issue. If you're funded for both, then you definitely need to continue reporting through TOPS Pro Enterprise for the WIOA funds and through MIS for the CAEP portion.
And Martha, this is
Yes.
Veronica. There was a question previously from Paige. She states on the last webinar, Jay said service hours will not count in this year.
Oh, that is a very good comment. If Jay says that, then I wouldn't argue with him. Then definitely the support hours, the support services hours, then I guess we wouldn't count them just for this year. You know, sometimes the data flags or their rules change so very often. So I guess I wasn't aware of this. I apologize. So if Neil also said it and Jay said it, then please disregard my comment and don't worry about the support services hours if they're not even enrolled. All right. Okay, thank you so much for clarifying that. Now, the update record. Of course, you will need the date of the update, and there can be more than one in the program year. There can be several for a program year. You would need to record their class ID number, their instructional program that they're enrolled in, and what services they received, as well as any type of learner results. And perfect. So, and then any update record has to be completed if your student has left for the program. They've left for the year, they're no longer coming back, they didn't return, there are no shows, then definitely please complete an update record for them and marked as they left the program. So I'm getting a notice here that we will be implementing for the 1920 program year about the hours, the service hours. Very good. Great. For those of you who have a an attendance system such as ASAP, Schoolhouse, AIM, Banner, or any other that isn't listed on this slide, and you are importing their data from their system into TOPS Pro Enterprise, please include all attendance hours for students who are enrolled in a class from July 1st until the end of the program year, which is June 30th, and export your files as CSV files, please. And they will be able to load onto TOPS Pro Enterprise and use, of course, the TOPS Pro Enterprise import wizard, which you'll find it under your tools menu. And if you have any questions during this process of importing your files, or you have any questions or any errors come up, please make sure to contact our technology support team for any type of assistance. Any technical assistance, we can remote into your computer and guide you through this process. For the high school diploma, any improved literacy skills that you have for these type of students, then those participants would need to have enough high school credits. So these participants that are from ASC low going into an ASC high level or any of the NRS approved assessments, or completed enough high school credits to advance from ASC low, which is between the 9th, 10th grade, to an ASC high level, 11th or 12th grade, then they definitely need to be completed these credits and be marked as their instructional program as HSD, high school diploma, and if they are HS or high school equivalency, HSC. Instructional program high school diploma, their instructional level must be ASC low or ASC high, either through their pretest or a self-reporting manually for ASC low. And at the end of the program year or at the end of their instruction, they should be self-reported as ASC high. So the learner achieves any outcomes by making or earning their high school diploma. They don't need a post test, but they would definitely need to be marked as earned their high school diploma and be marked as ASC high so they can achieve those benchmarks. So there's another
Martha?
question. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was getting ready to address the question, so I'll let you go ahead.
Thank you. So there was another question about ASAP and TOPS Pro Enterprise Export Imports. It says, how do I get the services received if they have not been enrolled in a class? If they have not been enrolled in a class, you can do it through your entry update record. You can add an entry or update record for your student. You can do that manually in TOPS Pro Enterprise. Or if you want to do it on ASAP, honestly, I don't manage ASAP. I don't know that system. But in TOPS Pro Enterprise, you can definitely do it recorded manually and enter the services received through their entry slash update record, the electronic one from the demographics lister. And we have multiple documentation on our website that will guide you through these steps, or you can also call us to the tech support team. There's another question about every single student need to have an exit status on their update record for the end of the year. So if a student has been marked as retained and they are coming back this year, or do we only need to mark them an exit if they will not be returning for the 1920? That is a very good question. So the exit status would be for those students who have completed their instruction, their program. They must probably have achieved a high school diploma, or they're already exited the school. So the exit status would be good to be recorded on those specific cases. For any students who leave the program or leave the class in the middle of the program year, but they'll tell you that they'll come back. They will return within 6 months or 4 months or something that's bigger than 90 days. Then you can definitely mark them as retained, so their status or their days within the period of participation doesn't continue to be counted, because then they will be marked as exiters by the system. But this is more for WIOA. This is more for WIOA federal guidelines. So in regards to CAPE, the status can be marked as exited if they are not going to return, or retained if they will be returning. Okay.
And Martha, there was a question above from Brad. He asks if they did a pre-test using the old CASAS test, will a post-test using the new goal series work for a post-test?
Mm. That is a good question. If they used the pre-test for reading and they used the previous test with the life and work, and they are now post-testing them with a different series, unfortunately, they will not be matched together or paired as a paired test, pre and post test, because they're different series. They have different scores, different scales, and different content standards. So unfortunately, if they pre-tested on one series, they should be post-tested on using that same series, or pre-test them and post-test them on the new goals series. Um, there is another question about that status marked as retained or exited for the program year. So you don't have to mark them if they haven't exited, or if they haven't told you that they will leave the country to their country of origin and then they will return. So you don't have to mark them. If the program status is left empty, it's because we are understanding that they will come next program year. If they finish their class on mid-May or mid-June, but they will be returning back on mid-July or mid-August, I'm pretty sure there's still a time frame about more than 90 days of instruction, more than 90 days in within program years, that if they return back in mid-August, they should be about fine. You don't have to record any status for their program enrollment. I hope this clarifies about that. There is another question about creating a student in ASAP. Unfortunately, I don't know ASAP. That would be a question for their staff, but it sounds like you are asking about C-spot for services to be documented. Yeah, that definitely is about ASAP. Sorry about that. I don't manage ASAP. Okay. All right, so following along here into our next slide, it's talking about importing your data from a third party, what we call a third party attendance system. It could be your own attendance system, like ASAP, AIM, Schoolhouse, or one of the others that were registered on the spreadsheet. So you would definitely just need to export files from your data system into a CSV format. You can save that into your desktop or into one of the files that you have available for the import exports. And then in TOPS Pro Enterprise, you would go to the Tools menu, and there is a specific wizard called the Third Party Import Wizard. And you just follow the directions. They are very simple and clear for the WIOA import formats, which are the most recent ones. And we just follow this path and remember to export or import, I'm sorry, any records that can create new records in TOPS Pro Enterprise, as well as update the existing records that we currently have in the database. And of course, if you have any questions about this process, you can definitely call us and tech support so we can guide you through the process. If you're not using an attendance system, you can add your own attendance hours directly into TOPS Pro Enterprise for those students who have enrolled in a class. And you can do it two ways. You can go to the Student in Program Year Information Lister, or you can go to that straight from the Student Demographics Lister, going to Records, Students Demographics, and double clicking on the Student in Program Year information. So you can click that button that says add entry/update record. It's a little black button put on the blue ribbon on the top area because that button will allow you to enter so much information that you see on that second towards the right image. It's a little tiny, but then you can definitely download your PowerPoint presentation so you can review this information. So you can enter individually the hours of attendance for an individual student. Now, if you have a whole class that you have to enter hours of instruction in one single day, then you can definitely go to the class instance information. That is the other way of easily adding hours of instruction into different students at the same time. All they got to do is be enrolled in that class instance, so they will appear on your lister. And this is a bit larger, so the image, you can see this better, I believe, and you will be able to enter, be specific about the date that the students spent time in that class, and be able to check the box for that day so you can enter the hours of instruction in minutes. Okay, so there is another question about TOPS Pro and ASAP able to talk to each other so you can understand both systems. Well, TOPS Pro and ASAP do a very good handshake. I'm not sure which would be the issue in this case, that it doesn't seem to import easily. Sometimes ASAP exports classes with adding extended IDs, so that may create a different class into your TOPS Pro Enterprise. But if you have like specific questions about importing into TOPS Pro Enterprise, you can definitely give us a call to our phone, you can either send us an email to tech support or call us at our 800 number for guidance on this. All right. You're welcome. So next here, checking the quality and completeness of your data. Okay, so once you have imported all your records from your attendance system, or you have manually recorded them or scanned them into TOPS Pro Enterprise, we want to make sure we get every single entry update record in there, scanned or imported, hours, attendance, anything that we have available, so we can populate our database successfully and then run the data integrity report. This is going to be the inventory of your data. You would go to the reports menu, click on state reports, California, CAEP data integrity, and this page will appear, which is a report setup generator for CAEP data integrity. You want to make sure that you select the 18-19 program year because this is the year we are reporting for, and then just go ahead and click generate. I wouldn't uncheck any of the CAEP programs that are marked, even though you may not offer this at your local agency, any of these programs. I mean, you could probably offer 6 and not the whole 7 programs in here, or the 9 program areas. And don't uncheck anything. I would just check the 18-19 program year and just click the generate button as indicated in with the arrows. Okay, so it looks like we have another question about demographic record being created each program year for returning students in order to capture any new outcomes. For instance, if a student was unemployed and obtained the employment in one program year, but retains a job in the next while still enrolled in the program. Yes, the employment the employment information will be recorded into the student demographic record. So regardless if he's enrolled, of course, you want to bring over all your files from ASAP or your attendance system and make sure you enroll them in the new program year. If they continue to be in an ESL program or an ABE ASC, and then if they retain their job, you can definitely mark that as well. You don't have to mark them again as has a job and retained it. But if they already have marked as have a job, then you can continue with the retain their job while enrolled in the new program year. I hope that makes sense. All right. All right, following along, this would be showing up on your summary information for your CAEP data integrity report, which is going to give you a list of the total amount of students that are enrolled or have received any type of services for this program year. There's also another area where you will see those students who are not enrolled in the 7 CAEP program areas, but if they have been marked or received any outcomes or achieved any services and they're not enrolled in a CAEP program, you will also get those marked. And these are highlighted in a pink or purplish box. You will see those students who are not enrolled in the 7 CAEP programs, but they definitely achieve some outcomes. Then you will be able to see those lists right there and through your data integrity report for CAEP. So for these students, you would just simply need to enroll them in a CAEP program in order to claim their outcome. Okay. Now this slide will show you the complete full data integrity report. There are a few more items on the second page, which I didn't post, but this will show you the main page where items 1 through 9 are required elements that if missing, these could definitely affect your outcomes for the program year. And the rest of the items, 10 through 27B now, we have up to 27 items. These would reflect the totals in your database. It's pretty much like an inventory of your data, including items that may be missing some key field information. And then you can right click on any of these items in order to make any edits or add any other information to these type of student records. You can right click to drill down from the cells on your live report in TOPS Pro Enterprise. All right. So what is next? Now your agency data is totally into TOPS Pro Enterprise. Everything has been recorded, uploaded, imported, scanned. Perfect. You're great. You have your TOPS Pro database populated. Now, if you've added any missing data or corrected items into your database, they will definitely show up on your CAEP DIR report. You can also do that from the report itself to drill down. And now you're ready to generate the the CAEP data integrity report for the 18-19 program year. Now, you would need to export once you have generated your report. There is an export button. You can export it as a PDF and you can then save it onto your desktop and attach that into an email. Send it over to caep@casas.org and copy your designated consortium data manager for their acknowledgement. And that's it. That's about it with the CAEP. Just make sure you enter all the data properly into TE and generate the report, send it over to us. There is another question about simply enroll them in a CAEP program. Do you mean even though the school year is over, we add them into a program year that they hadn't registered for? So if they achieved any programs, if they achieved any services throughout the program year and they did not register for any of those programs, it would be, yeah, hard to enroll them. But if they did enroll, they attended for a day or two, then you can definitely enroll them into a program. So yes, that is a good question. CAEP program, if they did not register for any of the classes or program, um, but they'd received any services, I would definitely defer that to Jay Wright. I would need to contact you directly, Linda. so I can double check on that information. Okay. All right. Um, let's see. I have a last question. The email has changed. Yes, the email has definitely changed. It used to be aebg@casas.org, but we no longer have that email address. I believe if you send an email, maybe bounce back, maybe that's what's going to happen. So make sure you send it over to caep@casas.org. All right. So yes, I will definitely send an email to Jay about this and the other question we have and include you. Veronica, can I have a copy of this chat at the end?
Yes, I can send that to you.
Thank you. All right, folks. So are there any other questions? Any other questions in regards to the data submission that is due on August 1st, which is coming up pretty soon? All right. Oh, the email doesn't bounce back. Perfect. That's great to know. Awesome. So then you can go ahead and send it over to either or AEBG, but just have it for your records. Please add the CAEP at casas.org and also copy your consortium data manager for your data report. Well, we have these resource numbers right here for any technical assistance you may need throughout the process of sending over your data, and to make sure that the data is accurate and complete. You may also call us to verify that for you. For the phone number is 1-800-255-1036, option number 2 for tech support, or you may also send us an email, techsupport@casas.org. All right, so I see that Veronica's posting an email, tap@abg.org, for any policy-related questions. So make sure to also have that in your files. All right. Any other questions anybody may have in regards to this or any other thing about data submission? Right. Well, thank you so much for attending. Thank you for spending these last 40 minutes in this chat room. I really appreciate you being participative, and you can definitely welcome to download this PowerPoint presentation. All right, I appreciate your attendance and thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Martha, and thank you to everyone who did participate in today's webinar. I did post the URL for this Friday's webinar. That's Friday, July 19th, where Neil will be going over the policy-related changes for the 1920 program year. So if you haven't done so, please be sure to register for that webinar. There will be a lot of great information presented during this webinar that will help prepare you for the 1920 school year. In addition, I am posting the URL of where this webinar recording will be available to you all. So please, if you need to go back to reference any information or even the questions that came up during the during the webinar in the chat pod, you'll be able to do so by looking at the recording and also hearing Martha's answers. So please be sure to be on the lookout for that, and also pass this webinar recording and PowerPoint along to others who were unable to attend today's webinar. Again, if you have any questions related to student data reporting policy, please be sure to email tap@aebg.org. We will connect you with the appropriate person who will be able to, answer those policy related questions, and also for technical issues, contact CASAS. At this time, I will close the webinar room, and upon doing so, the evaluation will appear. Please be sure to complete this evaluation to let Martha know what you thought about today's webinar and if there are any outstanding questions that you may have, or if there are other technical assistance or professional development that you are in need of. We do use those evaluation results to address any of your needs. So please be sure to fill out that evaluation. Again, thank you all very much for your participation, and we hope to see you all on Friday. Have a great afternoon.